Think about the last salad you ate, or the burger you had last week, or that sandwich you grabbed on your lunch break. Somewhere in all of that, there was lettuce. And here's the thing almost nobody stops to ask. Where did it come from? Who cut it? How did it get from a farm field to your plate, still fresh, still crisp, sometimes in less than 24 hours? America eats over 30 million pounds of lettuce every single week. Most of it comes from one valley in California that grows so much lettuce it literally feeds the entire country. Today, we're going inside the largest lettuce harvest in America. The machines, the workers, the science, and the race against the clock that happens every single day so that your salad is ready before dinner. Let's go. Before we get into how the harvest actually works, let's zoom out and understand just how big this industry really is. The United States is one of the largest lettuce-producing countries on the planet, and within the U.S., California grows about 70% of all the lettuce consumed in the entire country. The other major producer is Arizona, which takes over during the winter months. In fact, Salinas Valley in California has been called the salad bowl of the world, and that's not just a catchy nickname. This one valley produces more leafy greens than most entire countries combined. But why there? What makes Salinas Valley so special? Three things: temperature, soil, and fog. The valley sits between mountain ranges that channel cool ocean air inland every single day. Temperatures rarely go above 75 degrees, even in summer. Lettuce hates heat. It bolts, meaning it shoots up, turns bitter, and becomes unsellable if it gets too warm. The Salinas Valley's natural air conditioning makes that almost impossible. The soil here is deep, rich, and drains beautifully. And that morning coastal fog, it waters the fields for free and keeps everything cool just long enough for the plants to thrive. The result is a valley that harvests lettuce 12 months a year on a rotating schedule, something almost no other region on Earth can do. And here's what makes lettuce totally different from most other crops. You cannot just leave it sitting in the field once it's ready. It starts degrading within hours of being cut, which means every single day on a lettuce farm is a precision operation timed down to the minute. So let's start from the very beginning, the seed. Before any lettuce gets harvested, it has to be planted. And the way large-scale farms do this is a lot more precise than just dropping seeds in the dirt. First, farmers choose their variety, and this is where it gets interesting, because lettuce is not just one thing. There are over 100 varieties of lettuce grown commercially in the U.S. The big ones you know are iceberg, romaine, greenleaf, redleaf, and butterhead. Each one has a different growing time, a different temperature preference, and a different market value. Romaine takes about 70 to 80 days to mature. Iceberg takes closer to 90 days. Farmers have to plan their planting calendar months in advance, almost like a chess game across seasons. There are two ways to get lettuce into the ground. Some farms use direct seeding. A machine called a precision seeder rolls down the rows and drops seeds at perfectly measured intervals, sometimes planting up to 12 seeds per foot of row. Other farms use transplanting, growing seedlings in greenhouse trays first, then moving them to the field when they're about 3 inches tall. Transplants give the plant a head start and reduce the risk of the seed failing to germinate in unpredictable field conditions. Once the seeds or transplants are in the ground, water and nutrients come through drip irrigation systems running just beneath the soil surface. These systems are often controlled by computer. Sensors in the soil send data about moisture levels, and the irrigation adjusts automatically. Modern lettuce farms are essentially running on software. As the plants grow, workers walk the rows and manually thin them, pulling out extra seedlings so that each plant has enough space to grow into a full head. It sounds simple, but it's critical. Overcrowded plants compete for nutrients and produce smaller, less valuable heads. After all of this, 60 to 90 days of growing, irrigating, monitoring, and thinning, the lettuce is finally ready. And that's when the real race begins. It's 4 in the morning. Pitch dark, and the harvest crew is already moving through the field. Lettuce harvest doesn't wait for sunrise. In fact, farmers prefer to cut in the dark or in the coolest part of the early morning. The reason is simple.
The colder the lettuce when it's cut, the longer it stays fresh. Heat is the enemy of leafy greens. On large industrial farms, lettuce isn't cut by hand, it's cut by machine, and this machine is one of the most fascinating pieces of agricultural engineering you've probably never seen. It's called a lettuce harvester, or a harvest platform, and it rolls slowly down the rows while workers stand on platforms on either side. As the machine moves, workers bend down, grab each head, and cut the stem with a specialized knife, all in about 1 to 2 seconds per head. The cut head then goes onto a conveyor belt running along the center of the machine. Here's a number that is honestly hard to believe. A fully staffed harvest machine with a crew of 20 to 30 workers can harvest up to 10,000 heads of lettuce every single second. That's nearly 3 heads of lettuce every single second. And here's what makes the whole system even more impressive. The lettuce doesn't get packed somewhere else later. It gets packed right there on the machine, in the field, as it's moving. Workers on the back end of the harvester trim the outer leaves, check for quality, and pack the heads directly into cardboard boxes, sometimes wrapping them in plastic films simultaneously. The box is sealed, labeled, and stacked, all before the machine has even finished the row. As soon as a box is sealed, something really clever happens. Some operations use what's called liquid ice injection. A slurry of ice and water is pumped directly into the sealed box through a small vent hole, surrounding every head of lettuce with ice contact immediately. This drops the core temperature of the lettuce from around 65 degrees down to near 34 degrees Fahrenheit in under 2 hours. The technique is called hydrocooling, and it's one of the main reasons lettuce from California can arrive crisp and fresh in New York or Chicago the next morning. Once cooled, the boxes are loaded onto refrigerated trucks, and the clock to your table starts ticking. Lettuce is one of the most time-sensitive crops in all of American agriculture, and the supply chain built around it reflects that. Every hour matters. In the first 1 to 4 hours, the lettuce is cut, packed, and hydrocooled in the field. By the time the sun fully rises, thousands of boxes are already sealed and sitting at near freezing temperatures. Between hours 4 and 8, refrigerated trucks called reefers are loaded directly at the field or at a nearby cooler facility. These trucks maintain 34 to 36 degrees Fahrenheit non-stop. The drivers don't wait. As soon as a truck is loaded, it moves. Between hours 8 and 16, the trucks are on the highway. Salinas to Los Angeles is about 5 hours. Salinas to Phoenix is 10 hours. Salinas to Chicago is around 35 hours by truck, which is why some long-distance shipments go by air freight or are handed off at regional distribution hubs closer to the destination. Between hours 16 and 20, lettuce arrives at regional distribution centers, where automated systems scan every box for temperature compliance. Any box that has gone above a safe temperature threshold gets pulled and discarded. It won't make it to the shelf. Between hours 20 and 24, boxes are dispatched to individual grocery stores. Store workers unload them before the store opens, and the lettuce hits the shelf. Still crisp, still fresh, still cold. Within 24 hours of being in the ground, that lettuce is in someone's cart. That's not just logistics, that's a miracle of engineering. Now, here's the part of this story that most people never see when they're standing in the salad aisle. Despite the machines, despite the technology, lettuce farming still depends enormously on human labor. Harvest crews can range from 30 to 80 workers per machine, and the work demands speed, precision, and physical endurance that most people couldn't sustain for even a single shift. The majority of these workers are Latino immigrants, many from Mexican states like Oaxaca and Guerrero, where agricultural traditions run deep for generations. Some families have worked the same Salinas Valley farms for 30 and 40 years, grandparents, parents, and now children. The pay structure is typically hourly with productivity bonuses. Experienced cutters, the workers who actually cut the lettuce heads, are considered the most skilled members of the crew, and their accuracy and speed directly determine how profitable each harvest run is for the entire operation. But the industry is under pressure from multiple directions at once. Labor shortages are intensifying every season. Younger generations are moving to cities and away from farm work, and immigration policy has created uncertainty for workers who have been the backbone of this industry for decades. Water is the second crisis. The Salinas Valley depends on groundwater aquifers that have been depleted significantly over 50 years of intensive farming. Saltwater intrusion from the nearby Pacific Ocean is contaminating freshwater wells, a problem so severe that it now has its own name, the seawater intrusion problem, and it is directly threatening the long-term viability of farming in this valley. Climate is the third pressure point. Extreme heat events, which were once rare in Salinas, are becoming more frequent. Even just a few days of unusual heat can wipe out an entire field of lettuce that took 90 days to grow. One heat wave in 2021 destroyed millions of dollars worth of crops across the valley in a matter of days. And just like with other major crops, the lettuce industry is investing heavily
in automation. Robotic lettuce harvesters that can identify, cut, and pack heads autonomously are already being tested. Some can operate at night using sensors and cameras, requiring almost no human oversight on the cutting end. But the challenge remains the same. These machines work well in perfect conditions and struggle with the kind of variability that experienced human crews handle without even thinking. The future of the lettuce harvest is almost certainly going to be a combination of both: machines handling the heavy lifting, humans providing the judgment and flexibility that no algorithm has fully figured out yet. So let's pull it all together. We started with a simple question: where does your lettuce come from? And the answer turned out to be one of the most impressive food stories in America. One valley in California feeds the salad bowls of an entire nation. 70% of all U.S. lettuce, grown on a rotating 12-month schedule, powered by a unique geography that took millions of years to form. From the moment a lettuce head is put in a dark Salinas field at 4 in the morning to the moment it's on your grocery shelf, we're talking about 24 hours or less, a logistical achievement that most people never stop to appreciate. And behind every head of lettuce is a worker with years of experience, a family with decades of history on these farms, and a level of skill that machines are only beginning to approximate. Their work feeds millions of people every single day, and that deserves recognition. The next time you open a bag of romaine or grab a head of iceberg, take 1 second to think about the 4 a.m. field, the moving harvest platform, the refrigerated truck on the highway, and the hands that made it happen. Because that salad didn't just appear. Someone built a system, and someone worked inside it, just to feed you. If this video changed the way you see your food, share it, because everyone who eats should know this story.